Okay, hello. Is the voice working? Yes, the voice is working. Actually, it probably isn't because, well, it might not be great because I forgot to pull my microphone over. That's how organised I am. Right, so what am I going to do? So it is, like, I'm even not going to look at my watch. I remember not looking at my watch. It's just gone 6 in the evening. Had a fairly busy day doing bits and bobs, nothing massively important. And then just been out for a run and things. Just got out of the shower, had straggly hair and stuff. And need to have dinner soon, but I didn't want to have dinner just yet, so I thought I'd come in and tinker with a little problem that is currently an issue with Frogmouth. Did a little update the other day. It's not been pushed out or anything yet, but I did an update the other day. Someone raised the excellent point that for the longest time, Frogmouth, Trogan as well, I believe, but definitely Frogmouth, has been pinned to a very specific textual version. And there was good reasons for that. Things like Frogmouth and Trogon and so on were built as apps for showing off what textual can do and the like. But of course, textual was moving fairly fast, certainly back around the time that, say, Frogmouth was built. So it was very easy for changes to be made that would then break Frogmouth, which meant that had to be on the ball and remember to release a new version of Frogmouth and stuff like that. And sometimes the time just wasn't available and things like that. Everyone just has finite time, right? So we always had it pinned. And then, I can't remember the chap's name now, but someone did raise an issue the other day. And then apologised for being grumpy to me on Fosterdon, which wasn't unnecessary. It actually didn't come across as grumpy, but it did amuse me. I thought that was quite sweet. What was the point? Yeah, they made the point that like actually being pinned to a very specific version of textual probably wasn't necessary, and it's okay to set a lower bound and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, do you know what? Textual has probably calmed down enough now that we can probably get away with that. So I made that change, and then immediately realised that 0.54 of textual had a change such that it broke just some of the layout in Frogmouth. I actually suspect it will have broken the layout in a number of other applications. I first became aware of it because it caused a problem for Trogon as well. Trogon is an app that I've never, until like the other day, I didn't have a single commit to Trogon. That wasn't one I went near. But someone raised an issue the other day that when you ran it up, like the screen was, the screen was pretty much actually completely clear, and it was because, how can I best explain this? As a sidebar, and what was happening was the sidebar was suddenly taking up the whole of the width of the screen, and so the actual content, all the input fields and stuff like that that pop up, weren't there, which isn't very useful as far as I'm aware. Never used Trogon myself, so I'm not that familiar with it. The problem comes down to, it turns out, if you have a container that you want to be wide enough to accommodate something inside it, and the thing you have inside it wants to be wide enough to accommodate its content. So let's say you have a label and you want the label to be just wide enough to hold the text, you'd make the label width auto. And then if you want the container, say the sidebar, to be at least wide enough to fit that label, you'd make the container width auto. But maybe you want a label that you always know is going to be narrow above, and you want it to, say, center the text. So the thing you want to do is like center the content of it and everything, but you need the label to be as wide as the container is. So that's where you'd make that label width 100. 100%, I should say. 100 is completely different, isn't it? The idea being, I want to be exactly as wide, or I want to be as wide as the space available in the content of my container. And so there's quite a few apps out there. Pretty sure Tinboard, one of mine, and probably OS Hit as well, probably have dialogues in there that use very similar layout scheme. And what's happening is in 0.54, a change was made that seems to, I don't know if it was on purpose or by accident, it pushes the 100% causes the parent container to go really wide, which is not a great effect. So if I scoot myself down, I should remember to make fonts a little bigger, because a couple of people did say, "Oh, we can't read your text." What you should do is get bigger screens, or make me full screen. Stop watching things on little screens. How do I even make the font bigger in this? I never do that. Is that going to work? Let's go like there. There we go. I might take this back down again a little bit. So the upshot of this is, if I say pull up the, let's pull up the bookmarks. There's a bookmark there, and let's say I want to delete the bookmark. You can see that this dialogue ordinarily, you can probably tell the idea would be that the dialogue would be about wide enough to accommodate this text here, the label here. Well, the title's probably going to be smaller, so it would be width 100%. These buttons are always set to layout to the right. So I suspect what's happening here is this is probably, yeah, as I say, width 100%, and it's just like scooting that all the way across there. There's no really tidy fix to this other than, and this is, as I say, I was going to do a quick fix just while I came in. It's going to be to pin this to 0.53, or yeah, less than 0.55. Actually, probably make it 53 rather than, because if I say less than 54, that's not going to be fantastic. So essentially undo the thing I did the other day. That's my plan anyway, because there's a couple of other changes that have been made to Frogmouth that I made last week. Fairly small ones. Added the ability to ignore front matter in markdown files, just so the markdown files displayed a bit better. And it'd be nice if that went out. So so the dialogues don't look like trash. I'm going to have to pin it for the moment. There needs to be a fix in textual, obviously. That change probably isn't a great change. I know Will's aware of it. And I think he's mulling over a proper fix. I can't remember the exact reason why the change was made. My understanding is that there was a reasonable and plausible reason for doing this. It's just these are unintended consequences of that change. Do forgive me having a drink. So, what am I doing? What am I doing? This is where I do battle of poetry. I'm not a huge fan of poetry most of the time. I also need to up the size of the font in Emacs, because people are going to complain about that. And again, it's something I never do. I did look it up the other day, actually. I know I can do, is it X plus, that'll do one particular window. I'm trying to remember what it is to do all of them. What is it to do all of them? I'm sure I looked that up. It's not that. Oh, I think I remember. Yeah, there we go. It's probably okay. That's as far as I'm going. I can't abide it being any bigger. So let's go and have a look at Frogmouth. And I want to change. Just going to scoot over to my other window because I want to remind myself what the last version of textual was. I'll be back in a moment. I mean, you know, I know what's less than 0.54. It's 0.53, but I can't remember if it was 0.53.1 or something like that. I know numbers. I know all the best numbers. What am I looking at? I forgot what I'm looking at. 54. It was 53.1. So we're actually going to say... it's going to be that, isn't it? Oh, it's not going to be that. God, this is where we're getting to me typing terribly. Right. This is, if I start swearing at poetry, do excuse me, because I can never remember how to... I'm not a user of poetry, personally. So So I always have to try and remember what to do. Actually, I think, no. See that? There we go. Okay. Probably have to run the log file first. Remake the log file. Yay, there we go. Downgraded. Excellent. What I haven't done is create a new branch, so I'm going to have to do that in a moment. So hopefully it's going to be that straightforward. Hopefully. So if I come into here and I'm going to say I want to delete that bookmark, ta-da! That's what I wanted. That's how it should look and everything. Oh, excuse me for just 1 second. Right, I'm back. I just needed a little coughing session. No one wants coughing on camera, do they? So, right, no, don't delete that. So that's what I'm going to do. So let's come over here. So I'm actually going to stash that, and then we'll create a new branch based off main. Unstash, right, I think we're good. Should be as straightforward as that. Haven't missed anything else obvious, have I? No. So I'm going to have to remember to just had a thought. Let me just check. I can type. Make sure, I think I had an issue for this. So I just need to double check. Oh, come on, GitHub. That's been weird. The UI on GitHub is being ever so strange at the moment. I'm finding sometimes it's actually kind of hard to click on things at times. 98, there we go. And there is a issue for GitHub itself. For GitHub itself. For Textual itself. I actually sort of, there's 2 or 3 issues that are related to this now, and I created a meta issue for this the other day, this morning I should say. Let me just remind myself. Just want to reference the issue where there we go. There we go. So a little commit message that hopefully lets anyone else looking in on this know what's going on. So let's push that up. Right, just wanted to switch back over to main and just make sure I was on the latest version. Yeah, I think so. Switch back over to that. Yeah, I didn't need to merge anything in from main. Cool. Right, I'm just going to be over on my other window doing GitHubby things. Why have you logged me out? Ah, because I'm actually in the wrong window. Let's try that again. That's better. I realise it's not fun watching somebody working on a different window that you can't see, or screen that you can't see. But yeah, you don't need to see my bookmarks and things like that. It's nothing too terrible, but no one needs to know what bank I use, for example, that kind of thing. What was it doing? Frogmouth. I was going to create a pull request. That's what I was going to do. Right, there we go. Perfect. So I will be doing something back on the screen in a second, or the window in a second, because there's something else I want to check. I will be back. Right, just wanted to let the chap who... What was his name? James! That's it, James Cook. I just want to let James know that basically your request was fantastic and now I've completely ignored it by reverting it. Right, there we go. So it's not like there's going to be a new version of Frogmouth actually pushed out. I don't have the oh, there's Sublime Poetry install. Yeah, yes, that's right. You're right. Because I don't use Poetry that often, not a great fan of it. I actually tend to use a make file. I can remember, which is like, yeah, literally there. I got Poetry installed. I'm used to doing like make setup or something like that. So yeah, but thank you. This is the good thing about actually doing a little bit of coding while you're actually streaming, because like maybe there's someone who can. It's like I suppose it's like. What do the kids call it these days? Rubber ducking. I always called it cardboard analyst. But yeah, it's like rubber ducking, but the duck talks back, right? So what I wanted to do, that's that fixed, basically. That's the thing I wanted to do. It was a very quick fix to Frogmouth, but I wanted to do that while I remembered. Sublime says good old makefile. I love me a good makefile. I do so much with makefiles. So what I want to do is I want to look at I bet Timboard's going to have the same problem. So if I do that, no, if I do that, there we go. So that's okay. That's kind of the thing I wanted. If anyone's curious about what that one is, by the way, that was what that bookmark was. That's I stumbled on it the other day. Actually, it's a thing I remember on Reddit from years ago, and I'd lost the link to it. And it is the thing where a guy had taken a photo of his tattoos, and someone had asked, "How did you take a photo?" So he then posted a photo of the camera there while he was doing that. But obviously he'd used another camera, and someone was like, "Hang on, but how did you take the photo of that?" So then he posted another picture of another camera behind him with the camera there, and it's like this little turtles all the way down thing of it just got sillier and sillier. Anyway, that's off on a tangent. Let me just check something for a second. I just want to pull it over there. Right. Yes. Okay. So what I want to do, let's let's just update all the things and see if it breaks the dialogues in Timboard. I strongly suspect it will. Right, so if I go, let's delete that. Oh, right, okay. Hang on. Did that not? Oh, okay. It's not a problem with Timboard. I obviously constructed my dialogue in a slightly different way. Well, that's worth knowing. That's worth knowing. In that case, let's nuke that for now. I'll come back and do that another time. What I also want to check is update that. Can't even remember if I've got a dialogue in there that may actually have the problem. Can't actually remember if I have any. That's okay. Do the help dialogue. That's going to be okay. Yeah. Oh, user info. No. Hang on. I got dialogue. View user. There we go. Ah, right. That one's thrown off a bit, I think. Because if I do that and view the user, yeah, you can kind of. Is that actually the same user? Yeah, it's the same user. So it is affecting orange site hit. I've obviously got this outer container set to width auto. Something in here is going to be 100%. I can't think which one it is off the top of my head. There'll be something in there. And so it's causing the same problem. I seem to remember, though, that I did actually constrain the max width of that dialogue. You know, set it to like 80%, 90%, something like that. I can't remember what it was. So it doesn't look quite as terrible having the border slap up against the edges of the terminal. But yeah, it's definitely affecting that. But apparently Timboard's okay, which is surprising. I obviously did something right there and I can't remember what. I'm not going to worry about that too much. But anyway, the main thing is I need to pull a window over. Let's just do that. Wish I could spell things. I need to stop streaming just before dinner. For goodness sake. I'm glad I'm typing on the other screen because you can't see just how much of a hash I'm making of this. Right, okay. So yeah, the main thing is I basically just merged in this very straightforward pull request that just pins the version of textual for the moment. I will absolutely try again. I will absolutely undo that as soon as we have a resolution for this thing. So this is the problem. So if anyone wants to go and have a look at it themselves, it's issue 4360 in the textual repo, and it is quite straightforward. There's a vertical, there's a couple of labels. The first label's width 100%, the second label is width auto. And the idea being this container is going to be as wide as this label, and that label is going to be as wide as this container. And it's just, as I say, the vertical is auto wide, that label there is auto wide, and then the one at the top is going, make me 100%, I want to be as wide as my parent. And with the new version of textual with 0.54, it's doing things slightly differently. The 100% is causing the container to grow as wide as it possibly can, kind of thing. So yeah, it affects Trogon, it's affected Frogmouth, it's also affected, what's it called? Merlin, which is the little demo game thing that I think, yeah, you can kind of play it via textual web. It's one of the things that's built in for you to muck about with via textual web. So yeah, it's affected 2 or 3 things. And this is obviously a layout that was not in any of our snapshot tests, for example. So it's it's a good thing for it to go into snapshot tests, because then when that change was made, that that test would have failed. That test should have failed, kind of thing. So that probably, that a version of this should end up being a snapshot test, that kind of thing. Okay, well, that was it. I just wanted to dip in ever so briefly and just fix that little thing. Well, it's not even fixing it with Frogmouth. It's basically sweeping the issue under the carpet, of course, by just like pinning the version of textual. But I want to nag Will to release a version of Frogmouth in the next couple of days or so. I need to bump the version number and then just ask him to press the magic buttons, because of course he's got the keys to the kingdom. I don't. And so that'll push out the new version of Frogmouth with those couple of other extra changes. What did I change? Can I go back here? Go away. What's the update? Did I update the changelog? Was I good? Yes. There's only these. Oh yes, that was the other thing. So front matter now doesn't show when you view a markdown document that has front matter. And also I added support for jumping to an internal anchor within a document. This could be that it could be improved further, but it was a really simple and straightforward change to make. It was just literally given a link that's been clicked on. It's like, well, if the other things haven't been satisfied, like if there isn't a file in the file system that looks like this and blah 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 and everything, it's just a case of, does the anchor begin with a hash, in which case can we go to an anchor called that within the document somewhere? And that was it. It was like the comment explaining what it's doing and why it's doing. It takes up more space than the actual change itself, which is often a good thing. I'm a great believer in leaving helpful comments and things like that. I know there are other schools of thought, and they're more than entitled to be completely wrong. But yeah, a good comment to explain your reasoning as to why this does exactly what it does is always a good thing. Right, I'm going to go. I think that was it. I didn't really have much else to do. As I say, I just wanted to do that very quick fix to Frogmouth. I may be, well, I'm very likely going to be doing this kind of thing a bit more over the next few days. I mean, as anyone who follows me on any social media or the like will see, the kind of textualize as a group of people working as a business, working on a textual thing, has sort of come to an end. So at the moment, I'm between jobs, shall we say. Actually, sort of enjoying a few days of downtime and stuff like that. But in doing that, I want to keep a beat to my day. I mean, obviously here, I suppose in many parts of the world, it's a kind of holiday weekend. I don't really do holidays. I really don't do these kinds of holidays. So we're going to all that kind of stuff now. But like, it's not my thing. But it's a quiet weekend, so I'm going to be having a long weekend, and then come sort of Tuesday, I'm going to be hitting the whole kind of job hunting cycle is the word I was looking for. I'm going to be working on job hunting and stuff like that, but I'm not going to do that all day, every day. You can only do so much. You can only send out so many applications and all that kind of stuff and everything, and only read so many lists of vacancies available and the like. So in terms of keeping busy and stuff like that, one of the things I want to do is carry on tinkering with some of my free software projects. Many of them are going to be textual related at the moment. I may even do a couple of things relating to textual. And it's my intention that while I'm doing that, I'll probably do this thing of turn on the camera while I'm doing it, just in case anyone wants to dip in and say hello and watch me muck about. And there'll probably be longer sessions than this, maybe a couple of hours or whatever, and hopefully something a little bit more substantial than just changing a number in a Pi project file. Something a little bit more challenging than that would be fun. There's definitely a couple of projects that I've done over the last year that need dragging forward, could do with a bit of an update. There's one that I did way back, what did I call it? PI Spy, Package Index Spy. It's basically just a thing of you run it up and type in the name of a project in Python Package Index, and it'll just give you all the data and let you read through it and follow the links and all that kind of stuff. Follow your way through the dependencies and the like. And it's okay, but I wrote that when I don't think there was even a markdown widget in textual at the time, or if actually maybe there was, or does it just use static with the rich markdown? I can't remember off the top of my head, but that's the kind of thing I want to go and check, because it could be that it is still using the rich markdown renderable inside a static or something like that, whereas it could be using the actual markdown widget, which will look a lot tidier. So there's things like that. I kind of want to improve that, and that could do with a lot of extra things added to it. It could have a bookmarking system and whatever, that kind of stuff. So I may add those kinds of things. So that's my plan over the next week or two. While I do have some downtime, is maybe work on some of my older projects and bring them forward and add new things. But for now, I can feel I'm flagging. I need to go and get some dinner on. Finally calmed down from my run earlier and everything, so I'm definitely ready to eat. So I don't think there's anyone out there now, if the dashboard is right, but a couple of people have dropped in. So if whoever dropped in, well, especially Sublime, who was kind enough to remind me how to actually do the reinstall thing with poetry, thanks for dropping by. And if anyone happens to watch this at some point in the future, thanks for watching as well. And probably Monday or Tuesday I'll be back doing this, so if anyone's around then, I'll see you then.